Welcome to Obsidian for tabletop RPGs. Let's learn how to use the tool. Alright, g'day guys and welcome back today to another Obsidian video. Today we're going to be having another look at a process that allows you to get your content from Foundry into Obsidian. For my regular viewers, you'll know that I released a video on this recently where we did some content from D&D Beyond and from Paizo into Obsidian, and that was using version 10 of Foundry, and then pretty much that week version 11 dropped. That broke the process effectively because they changed the data structure in Foundry, and obviously the plugin stopped working, so that's been an issue. I personally haven't updated Foundry until now. Farling, the developer behind the original plugin, has come out and released an update, and we're going to walk you through that process today. So let's jump in and have a look. For Foundry here on the Paizo.com, obviously this is for Pathfinder 2 content that I'm specifically looking for. It doesn't really matter, you know, as far as I'm aware. Like, as long as you can get the content into Foundry, into the actual journal within Foundry, you should be able to export it. But obviously, like, I'm looking to play Pathfinder 2e moving forward, so keen to, you know, get some more modules in there. I'll probably work with the Abomination Vaults tonight. I do have a copy of that in Foundry, so that's one option. Other options would be to use the PDFs. You can actually download the PDFs, and there used to be a Foundry module to import from PDF. I don't know if that's still working, actually. That'd be interesting. Or you might be like a D&D Beyond user, right? And there's modules in Foundry for getting that content into Foundry as well. Alright, so that's what you need to do, is you need to find your content and get it into Foundry. It's up to you to figure that out. I won't go through that process tonight. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start up Foundry. You can see I have updated to version 11 of the Foundry Virtual Desktop, and that's what we have here. Okay, so I've gone through and I've done my update. Version 11 down here is shown, and you can see the starting page for Foundry now looks quite lovely, if I'm honest. Across the top here we have three sort of sets of things that we need to worry about. There's a game world. Alright, the game world is where we're going to be playing, and I have had a few game worlds over the time, but specifically today I've made a PF2 version 11, and that's where I'm going to be playing. I've made that, right, so we can do this. To do that, all we do is we go create world, give it a title, where we're going to save it, pick the game system that you're going to be playing. That's basically it. Create world. Alright, it's a place for you to play. Then game systems, obviously you have to have your game system installed in order to select it in your game world, so maybe do this bit first, but come in here and install the game system. There's obviously, like, there's a large number of choices that you can actually pick from. Alright, so you can come through here and have a look. And then add-on modules, and this is where it kind of gets important. For anyone who's ever been curious about what modules I am running, here you go, you can see them all. Fog Manager, I just need something to manage fog. Hide Player UI, I'm using a virtual tabletop, as in like a TV tabletop, so Hide Player UI means that my players are just in my map. Honestly, that's pretty much it. I don't need pretty much anything else other than that to play my games. That's it. But for tonight's purposes, what we do need is we need Markdown Exporter. We do need Markdown Exporter, and that's the plugin that we're going to use today. So all you need to do is come in here to Install Module and do a search for Markdown. Alright, and we can see Markdown Exporter. I can see this is the one I'm looking for because it's got Farling 42. Farling is the god that obviously makes this all for us. Go ahead and do that install. Now, when I did that, it did say that you do need to have, I think LibWrapper was the one that it needed, but it's got a prerequisite as well, so it installed another one for me. Alright, but you go ahead and get that installed. We're looking to make sure things are green effectively. That means that they're up to date and they've been tested. You can see I've got a few here that have kind of fallen out. Alright, but once I've got them installed, what we need to do is go ahead and back to Games World. And what we're going to do is we're going to come here and we're going to click play on PF2e v11. Alright, we can see that's loading the data. Now I've got my Game Master account and I can click join. Now I haven't modified this setup in any way, so there's no passwords or anything like that. I'm just using this as a shell, if I'm honest. I'm not even going to play a game with this version. Alright, so now we are on the Foundry page. It's just a blank slate at this point. We're going to come up to the cog, going to click that. We're going to come to Manage Modules. And this is where obviously you're going to come in here and you're going to see some things that, you know, probably aren't ticked at all. You need to tick Markdown Exporter and Lib Wrapper, right? That's the additional one. So when you click Markdown Exporter, click Save Module Settings, it's going to say, would you like to reload? Alright, if we come back to Manage Modules, I think we need to install Lib Wrapper as well. I'm pretty sure the first time I did this it said, would you like to install this as well, because it's a prerequisite. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've got that installed, and we can come back here and check. Now, I've got the Battle Zoo Bestiary. Alright, I've purchased that content. That's just turned on just because I'm playing with exporting that. Alright, so ignore that for now. But come down here, as you can see, my purchase content is available. So what am I going to do? I'm going to install the Pathfinder 2E Abomination Bolts and save module settings. Alright, that reloads. We'll click the little cog, wait for my computer to spin up. Oh, it's spinning. Alright, go to Manage Modules. And now we can see that Pathfinder 2E is turned on. We can see that it's loaded in here and it's given an import option. So I'm going to click Import, and you can see here that this is what it's going to create. So import. It's going to do its thing. Hopefully, yeah, it's doing something. Alright, and then that's going to go through and basically import that content. Here we go. Into Foundry VTT so that we can obviously use it inside of Foundry. Give it a couple of minutes maybe. Content warning. Paizo cares so much about their players. They're always giving out little warnings. Alright, here we go. So now we've got the content inside of Foundry, which is exactly where we want to be. We can see there's all sorts of content up here. What I'm going to do is have a look at compendium packs, and I'm pretty new to Foundry, to be honest. I don't use it, right, except for like using it as a shell to get into other things. And what I found is there's things in here that sometimes you need in order to get things into Foundry. Like they come as like little packages and you can export them. So I just like to have a look through here. Looks like we've got the Foundry, it's already exported, it's ready to roll. And if we come over here to Journal, this is where we can see what's actually going to be exported. Alright, so if we close this, we can see there's an adventure toolbox with the locations. We've got a getting started note. Alright, there's a few different notes as well. Alright, so we're there. We have turned on the export to Markdown plugin. We've installed the content that we want to use, which is what we want to export into Obsidian, and let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so the process for exporting is super easy. Alright, all we need to do is come over here to the Journals button, which is where we are already, and effectively we're just going to right click on the content that we want to export. So Abomination Bolts, right click, export to Markdown. Now obviously you're not going to have that export to Markdown option unless you actually have the plugin installed, but that's what we've gone through in this video. So we'll click export to Markdown. It does its thing. We can then save that. It's going to go into my downloads, and I'm just going to save that with an _new. Alright, done. That's it. How easy was that? Okay, so I've downloaded the file to my downloads folder and I've opened it up. You can see it's called Abomination Bolts _new.zip, which is what I saved it as. It's in my downloads. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to copy this content. Alright, I'm going to take it to my vault. Alright, now if I open up another Windows Explorer, we'll go to my vault and we're going to put it into my PFT new one. I've got a lot of different folders going on here. I've been testing this for a few days, so we're going to call it a bomb import 3. Put it in there. I'm just going to paste it in here. Alright, now if we have a quick look at this once it's completed, you're going to see there's one folder with the notes in it, like the MD notes. They're obviously what we want. And then there's going to be another folder with the assets. The assets being the pictures. Alright, so any pictures that are referenced from within this content will be in its own folder. Here we go. And it's up to you where you leave this, right? You could copy all of these to anywhere on your computer, if that's what you want, or in your, sorry, not on your computer, into your vault, right? Into maybe your normal assets folder if you want, or you can leave it with the content. In terms of adventures, I like to leave it with the content, and the reason for that is that I can pick that module up at a later point in time and move the whole thing without any other thought. Let's just have a quick look in here. So we've got a subfolder with another folder, another 3 folders, and it breaks down. All right, and then we've got the notes. Getting started, more notes, there we go. All right, so let's go through, and we need to load this, and I'm just going to load my PF2E vault. Give that a quick load, and obviously as it loads it's going to index the files if it doesn't recognize it. And there we go, so we've got some indexing happening on. If your vault was already open, you can always click the open command palette and type the restart or reload Obsidian, and it will do the same thing. But wherever you put in a lot of notes in bulk, it's a very good idea to do a reload, because otherwise Obsidian doesn't necessarily know that they're there. Obsidian can handle like 1 or 2 notes at a time. If you throw in 5 notes, it might pick it up. But if you're throwing hundreds of notes, it doesn't generally know that it's done that until the application restarts. So make sure you do that, and then once your indexing is complete, you're good to go. Alright, so let's have a look here. We called it a bomb import 3, so inside of here we have the assets folder, which is exactly what we saw before. It's all the pictures. So that's more of a system folder, we don't need to go into there. And then we've got the actual content itself. So we've got the abomination vaults, we've got a getting started. Let's have a look here. Pictures are working, we're getting some properties in here. Looks like we're getting all of the links are working as well. That's fantastic. Alright, let's have another look. What have we got? We've got adventure toolbox, campaign background with linking. We've got all the credits, that's fantastic. Here we go, all of the chapters. Now, you might find some funny things like this, alright, which is just a case of like the content is designed in a way that it just didn't migrate over. Looks like this is a table of some kind. I'll just jump in here with a quick edit, because what obviously happened is I found out that the table is broken. Go through the process of trying to fix that, show you guys how pipes can be escaped and fix the templating, and then I'm like, oh, there's an easier way. How do we do it? Honestly guys, just find the content over in Foundry, the exact same content, right? I've just copied the table, and if I come back into here, I can paste that table, and that is now completed. That is a whole lot easier than going through and having to fix that. Now, what you might like to do just to make your life simpler is actually just copy some of these, right? So some of these links that have been automatically created, I might actually choose to come in here and do that. From area, yep, there we go. If we do that, that will give you your links, right? So that might be the better way for you to do this. If you've got the demi-plane content, it looks like tables can work as well. You can just basically copy and paste a table and come straight over into Obsidian and paste that, and the table does work as well. Alright, so 2 very simple ways to fix a broken table if the import process does not work. You might find some small examples like this, guys, as you go through your notes and find some issues, but as you can see, for the most part, we seem to be getting pretty clean notes. Now, this isn't how I would run the adventure. I wouldn't leave this like this, okay? What I tend to do is I actually bring up demiplane.com, and I'm going to bring that over to here. I go into the books and bundles, and I'm using demiplane for everything. And I come down to my adventures. Oh, I better sign in, otherwise this is not going to work. Demiplane is in a beta status, obviously, so not everything is running as quickly as it could, but it's certainly getting better each week. Abomination Vault, there it is. Alright, so we can see here, we've got the Player's Guide, Ruins of Godlight, Hands of the Devil, Eyes of the Empty Death. I would actually open this up now and I like to sort of like have this on the left, right? So what I do is I like come into the campaign overview. That loads the actual book, and this here kind of gives me a nice structure and format for the content, right? So I'll bring up chapter 1, I'll have a look at how it's actually laid out, alright? So I was getting us started, then a gauntlet rule, its features, and then all of that is in there, right? So I would do something similar here. Well, I actually will come in and actually reorganize these into folders that make sense for me, alright? I don't need 1, 2, 3, 4 different layers of abomination bolts as a folder. I would actually go through and restructure that. Now, I've actually done this already. Alright, so here's an idea of something that I've done with the same content, but I've come in after the fact, and I think I've got another video on this actually. But you can see I've got like things down the side with the chapters, and you know, if you break these things out, I think I've got them all into folder notes with the actual linking. We've got the ruins with the chapters where they need to be. Alright, so this method up here is useful to get the content into the tool, but I certainly believe that you're going to need to come back in here after the fact, and you're going to have to do a bit more work to obviously get this exactly how you want it to go. Alright, because, you know, you could use it this way, but it's probably going to be harder. Alright, you'll take you longer to find things when you need them. So go through and massage it, maybe change the size of your pictures, maybe put the pictures on the right, like, you know, like if we go to the skull, using the ITS theme or the CSS snippet, we can put the pictures on the right, takes up less screen space. There's also something here where, like the actor, for example, this has come through as weird, some weird text. Alright, there may be some things you need to identify. And in this case here, what are we actually? We're in AO1 damp entrance. This is where I use this, right? I bring up AO1 damp entrance. What is it? It's meant to be, what is it? Low 1 actor. What is it? A call out. If confronted, it's down the bottom here. Ah, I see it. It's actually the call out for a creature. Alright, so it's saying we're going to use mitflits times 3. Alright, so in this case here, what I would usually do is actually come in here and put an encounter from the stat block. I use the other one. Alright, I'd use mitflits. I don't know if I've got these in my vault. I've got 3 mitflits. There we go, we got mitflits now. Alright, the stat block's there, and then I would delete this. Alright, this is what I mean by massaging the data once you've got it in. Don't just sit here and go, I'm happy with this. I actually, as part of my prep, I will now read through this module as I go, put it where I want it, reorganize it, and as I go through, massage the pictures, make them look nice, put the stat blocks in, put the initiative trackers in. Alright, so that this becomes actually a really useful thing at the table. Alright, we can do this as well. We might just want to have the stat block raw up here so that we can actually just come through and go, alright, initiate combat. I actually like this format, by the way, the table. Takes up less screen space, and I can click that, throw it over, I've got the stat block here, and I can keep reading as I go. So there, as you can see, it's very, very simple to go from getting your content in Foundry into Obsidian. Now, this process will work for anything that's in a journal, alright? It doesn't work for items, actors, scenes, any of that, right? It's got to be in the journal feature. So there is some content that you purchase, like I've purchased monster combat stuff, right? I've got all these creatures here. I can't use them, right? I can use them in another way, that's in a whole other video, but I can't use them in this process. It only works with journals. But yeah, it's a very quick process, doesn't take any time at all, and Farling is amazing, right? I raised some issues with him when I was making this video initially the other night. He's fixed those issues, and you know, he's proactive on the community. So if you're looking for someone to throw some coffee money at, I certainly do recommend Farling. He's an amazing developer. He makes the really advanced data tools that we need to get content into the tool quickly. Alright, anyway, outside of that, that has been how to use Foundry with the new Foundry Markdown Export plugin in order to get your content from Foundry into Obsidian. I hope that has been useful, guys. Look forward to seeing what you guys are doing with it. If you are finding some amazing content that's good for this process, please do go ahead and raise that on our Discord for us. I want to say a huge and massive shout out to all of my patrons. Thank you for your support. You're keeping me absolutely on point, making more content. And yeah, outside of that, I guess if you're liking these videos, like and subscribe, do the whole thing. Other than that though, have a great day. I'll speak to you on the socials.